Good evening to you and your dear viewers. It's violating the international law upon the international community and system. But unfortunately, the White House and the American Congress acknowledged these West Bank territories under the title of Yehuda and Samira. So the Israel is supported and practically by the U.S. as the world police and the new settler that is dealing in a bid of the only and sole leader imposing tariffs against the EU to whatever they like, impose upon countries in the Middle East like the EC, and therefore is breaking all the perceptions of the international laws stipulated in the 242 and 338 UN resolutions. Stated that the West Bank are occupied lands in 1967, and the ICC resolution in 2004 stipulated that the buffer water is an apartheid wall, including the West Bank is the Palestinian occupied territories, meaning that Israel is continuing to violate the international law. It's a project in the West Bank and its plans is published by Symmetrich 7-8 years ago, what is called the theory of the decisive rule and the full domination of the West Bank, at least the areas of C and B.
Mr. Zakarneh, how do you think might this latest move by the Israeli government affect the viability of a future Palestinian state and the two-state solution framework, do you think?
Fortunately, we cannot talk about the Palestinian state today. The Israeli plans pushes the West Strip in the front, but the main goal is the cleansing and to deal the geographical in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip in particular, because the new thing for the Israeli plan that the displacement door and portal in the West Bank can contain the displacement in the Gaza Strip. So the position of the Gaza geography and they are pushing forward to push the people in the western Palestinian Rafah along with the Egyptian borders and to try to dominate and control all the operations of the viable assistance. And this is among the bids that featured by the Trump's taking into the office of the U.S. administration. So all the matters are in the hands of Netanyahu by changing the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Staff, as well as the controlling the deep in the state and the elimination of the chief of Shabak, along with the judiciary officials. That would help Israel to move forward of the grand plan with the Clinton, that even if it came under the title of the voluntary displacement by Trump, which is not the case, because the citizen is forced to die due to the hunger or thirst, so it is not voluntary, but it is forced and genocide war participated by the United States according to the international law.
Let me ask you, sir, what impact do the statements, do you think, from the Israeli ministers like Smotrich and Katz have on the ground in terms of settler violence and tensions with Palestinian communities?
If the talk around the West Bank It is just a pretext or a flimsy pretext provided by the Minister of the Israeli Constitutional Minister, as this was published, as I said before, 8 years ago. So the coalitions of the government is based on the annexation and of the lands and more settlements in the West Bank, and on the attempt of dominate in the areas of 60% of the occupied territories in 1967, and to attempt to pressure the Palestinians to be positioned in areas that are represented or just for 10 to 12% of the West Bank. So he treated two matters as Yehuda and Samira, which is the West Bank being controlled and dominated as a whole, and to increase the settlement and to create, or rather to transfer the settlement to big cities, such as 4 settlements in the West Bank. And in the other front, would treat the demographic cause of the Palestinian people and residents that were even in the number throughout the historical occupied Palestine in 1948, along with the Jewish people in the occupied territories. So the main demographic cause. So they pressured to a bit of displacing at least half of the Gazans, and in a bid to create an expelled environment through moving the residents in a geographic area that cannot bear such a number of people. That means more than 3.5 Palestinian people, at least according to the statistics. So they're trying to create and expel an environment later on, and they announced this by chasing all the dual nationals. Even the Israeli state, 70% of them are dual nationals.